This is Brian Atlanta Hot Tub Center, Tub Talk 101, and today by popular demand we're going to talk about calcium. We're going to talk about the effects that it has on your hot tub being high or low, and we're going to talk about how to increase or decrease it. So first things first, guys, if your calcium levels are too high in your hot tub, you can have little white flakes, okay? I'm sure some people watching this video has those little white flakes, and if you do, you can, it is possible to get rid of it. So, and I can tell you how. I can help you to achieve that goal. Just text down in the comments below, and we can have that conversation, and I can go through best practices to get rid of the little white flakes. But again, if your calcium levels are high over an extended period of time, you can have those little white flakes, and they kind of break apart. And don't be alarmed, guys. The little white flakes, they're not going to hurt you. They can be a nuisance. Okay, another thing with calcium being really, really high is you can create and have scaling. And scaling can be very difficult to get rid of. It can take a lot of elbow grease to get rid of scaling, so you want to be careful there. All right, and now let's talk about if calcium levels were too low. If they're too low, guys, normally what ends up happening is it's corrosive. Okay, and if it's corrosive, it can corrode glue joints, your heating element, and so forth. So very important to not let it get too low. Now, if it's a little high or a little low, here in Georgia, coming off the street, it's just a little high or a little low. We normally don't tell customers to mess with it. But again, if it is high or it is low, and very obviously one way or another, we need to adjust it. And we're going to talk about adjusting calcium today in a hot tub and a swim spa. We're actually going to do both. You can see I got gloves on, right? Anytime you're messing with chemicals, you should wear gloves. You don't want to be standing right over any type of chemical because you really don't want to breathe chemicals in. I'm going to be using a clear bucket today to kind of do this presentation because I'm showing it to you, but any bucket, quite frankly, will be just fine. The reason I have a bucket, guys, is I'm going to use the old school technique of filling up the bucket full of water, then adding the calcium increaser, then mixing it, okay, to make sure there's not going to be a chemical reaction. Now, I know there's going to be a chemical reaction here in a minute because I just added pH balance to the water, and I know that pH balance, okay, and calcium increaser always have a chemical reaction. And the reason I'm showing you this, okay, is because you always want to, with calcium increaser, you always want to mix it with the spa water first to make sure there's not going to be a chemical reaction before dumping the calcium increaser in the spa water back into the hot tub. Okay, so here we go. I got my little clear bucket here, and again, I already know there's going to be a chemical reaction here, but I just want to show you this so you understand. Okay, so I'm going to fill this guy up. Okay, all right. Remember, I just added my pH balance. Okay, I just added it, so I know that this increaser is going to have a little bit of a chemical reaction with this chemical. The reason I'm doing it is just to show you that this is why you should go forth and mix this up first. Now remember, a small amount of calcium increaser goes a really long way. So you don't need very much, and you always want to do it slowly, right? Anytime you do this and you increase the calcium in your hot tub, you need to wait 4 to 6 hours, test the water again before doing it again, right? You want to bring it up very, very, very slowly. Guys, if you don't and you spike that calcium hardness up to a very high level in the hot tub, you can create what we basically call a massive scaling problem. Okay, people in the industry have called it Arctic blast and have different names for it and things. But basically what it is, it's a white haze that covers the entire shell surface and cakes up your filter. And you'll have to call your dealer most likely to take care of it because it'll need to be cleaned 3 or 4 times. The inner plumbing will have to be flushed. It can clog up jets. It can create a huge issue, guys. So pretty important to be patient as we're bringing the calcium up in our hot tub or swim spa. So here we go. We're going to add just a little bit. You can see just by adding that how cloudy that is. I haven't even stirred it yet, and you can tell how cloudy that is. When you add calcium increaser to your bucket, it shouldn't be cloudy. It should be clear. Again, we just drained and refilled this. I put in the buffer, the pH balance, and I know these two don't get along. So if you are just draining and refilling your hot tub, and you add a buffer to help eliminate pH drift, whether it's perfect pH, pH balance, balanced pH, whatever, there's different names for it, you know that you need to wait at least a week or so before you even try to adjust your calcium. Now I've got my little nifty stirring stick. But I don't even really need to stir it, guys, because quite frankly, you can see it right here. You would not want to put that into your hot tub, okay? That will create a chemical reaction. You will have one cloudy hot tub. If I take this guy here and I stir this, okay, you can see how cloudy that is. You can't even see my face through that, right? That's not good. That's a chemical reaction. You do not want to add this to your hot tub. So what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to dump this. We're going to have a quick cut in the video. Then we're going to jump back in. All right, guys. So now we're doing it in a swim spa. Now the swim spa does not have any pH buffer in it. Has no pH balance in it. All the chemicals that have been in this swim spa have been in here for a couple of weeks. So here we go. To raise the calcium, right? We grab some of the water. Grab a little more, fill this guy up a little bit. Good news is the calcium is actually low in this swim spa, so this is a good thing to do. You can see how clear that water is. And guys, always wear gloves anytime you're dealing with chemicals, right? So we're gonna add just about a ½ ounce. You don't add much, okay? Just a little bit. Just remember, this process is slow. A little bit of that goes what? A really, really long way, right? We don't want to have that scaling issue, right? So here we go. Stir this guy up. Now, as you can see, this water is still clear. This calcium did not have a chemical reaction with the water. So what do I know now? I know that this water is good to put back into my hot tub and will help me to increase the calcium levels, right? And remember, guys, when calcium levels are really high, really low, I know we talked about the different effects it has on the hot tub, but it'll wreak havoc on you trying to balance out your chemicals in your hot tub. So again, if it's really high or really low, we really got to try to get them closer to being in range. So here we go. I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to dump it right into the hot tub, nothing special, just dumping it in, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back 4 to 6 hours later. I'm going to grab a test strip. I'm going to retest. And when I retest, then again, if I need to bring it up further, I'm going to go forth and do that. All right? Now, being that it's a swim spa, you could add more than a ½ ounce to start. You know, if it's pretty low, I'd probably add, you know, close to an ounce, maybe even 1.5 ounces, because obviously it's a lot more gallons, right? You know, it's 500 gallons. So, you know, ultimately, ½ ounce over here, maybe 1.5 ounces for the swim spa, again, depending on how low it is. But take your time and be patient and do it right. Now, decreasing calcium. If you want to decrease calcium in your hot tub or swim spa, quite frankly, the best way to do it, guys, is just drain the water some. Drain the water, you know, halfway and fill it back up. Normally coming off the street, your calcium levels are going to be low. It's normally after use and so forth when the calcium levels really start to go up. So, you know, we personally haven't really had to deal with a lot of people with high calcium levels unless they're not draining and refilling it on time, right? If you're not draining and refilling your hot tub on time, you know, you do kind of take the risk that those calcium levels or alkalinity or so forth can get high, again, because that water is high TDS levels and the chemicals you're adding aren't very effective, and again can create all sorts of different issues with balancing the chemicals, which is why we always suggest, salt system or not, guys, you really need to drain and refill your hot tub at least twice a year, right? If you're using it all the time, it should be a 3 times a year process. Doesn't matter if you're using salt, bromine, sodium bromide, chlorine, doesn't matter. Anyway, this is Brian, Atlanta Hot Tub Center, and why calcium is so important in your hot tub or swim spa. Thank you.